Hello and welcome. My name is Jane Phillips and I'm the manager of the Business Enterprise Center in Owen Sound. We are a program of the Ministry of Economic Development and Innovation, and our partner is the City of Owen Sound. We're part of the Economic Development Department of the city, which helps retain and attract businesses and build our business community. This feature you're about to view is from our panel discussion as part of our Bridges to Better Business event, an event that we hold each fall in October during Small Business Month. Now that you have been in business, what has been the biggest learning curve, or what has been the biggest surprise in business?
To be really honest, the biggest learning was that, well, simply accounting, the problem. Because I was always professional nursing, and I took business in high school, but that's where I left it too. So I had to learn the business from inside out. Wayne was a good help, but I'm now going to point the finger to Liz Taylor, because she came in and taught me an awful lot. Government regulations, I think, was the one that we really had to focus on, because we're regulated an awful lot with government regulations. Ratios, we're really, our business focuses a lot on ratios, because we, there again, being an electrical company, are regulated a lot on how many apprentices per journey people or journeymen. We also now have to have master degrees in journeymen to run a business, and that came in about, I would say, 5 years ago. So every day there's change, and you've got to allow yourself to change with those changes.
And how about Liz? How are things in the learning curve of the electronics business? The biggest learning curve, and what your biggest surprise has been so far?
So far, the biggest surprise is actually succeeding. And then what do? So you go from having one subcontractor, you're in the garage, things start picking up. So we built a shop on the property. Things got busier, then we got 2 subcontractors, and then we got busier, so you hire one of them as a full-time employee. What do you do with employees? Then you have to learn payroll, you have to learn deductions, you have to focus your attention on everything else, keeping them happy. Then you move into Owen Sound. Now you're dealing with leasing, you're dealing with 4 employees. You buy a building, now you're dealing with real estate. So you bought the building, and you're growing, you end up with 5 employees. Now we're at 14. And like Marg was saying, the accounting, we've seen Simply Accounting grow. We've used it for 17 years now. I had to keep going back to school to learn how to use it, to get the most benefit out of it. Then I taught it, and then at the time I met Marg, I was teaching Simply Accounting. Now I don't even have time to do that, so now I'm full-time with the company. So the biggest learning curve is dealing with growing.
There's a couple of ways that we think we are more efficient in the marketplace, in our particular business. What we have done, I guess, number one is, I started in this business 30 years ago as a designer and a sign maker. And as a sign maker at that time, it was a matter of nails, hammers, paint, and a skill at sign writing. That's what I became, was a sign writer. And as computer technology took over, we were one of the first shops in the area to actually get on board the computer turntable, I guess you'd call it. And thought we'd be very smart at keeping ahead of the curve always in technology. But when inkjet came out, for instance, we took a calculated decision to stay away from technologies, buy those technologies from other people, and create and craft partnerships with them, and become more project managers than we were worrying about continually upgrading our technology all the time. And it's, for us, because we are very small, we're a small business, it's worked out very well for us. And what we rely on is our design skills, and we're continually trying to educate ourselves to be on top of new practices, best practices in design, trends, things that people are looking for, so that our designs are always cutting edge, but we don't worry so much anymore about the technology. That's one thing. The other thing is just good old-fashioned expenses. We found that the best way to a better bottom line is looking at simple things like how much heat's flying out the windows. Retrofitting your space, your workspace. We just put in a new heating system. We just upgraded our lights this past year and saved an appreciable amount of money. If you're saving 10% on the bottom line of your expenses, that goes into your pocket. That's a nice thing, and a good way to look at it, I think, is being terribly hard on expenses. That's the thing that we all need to do as business people.
Well, I guess when you look at being efficient, we look at it in sort of two different levels. I think the first thing that we do is we look at our goals, and we look and say, we define our markets, we define our strategy of what we're trying to accomplish with the business, and then we set some plans. And we actually we write them out, and I have it taped to the corner of my desk. And the reason I do that is that once a day at least I get to that point where I can see that, and then I say, is what I'm doing at this particular moment in line with our goals and our strategy? And if you don't go back and have that thought once a day, you can really be derailed. So you can only be back on the rails if you set them. So I would suggest you really understand what you're trying to do as a business, as a plan, and as a strategy.
Working with the schools and working with the YMCA, very important, very important. It helps our community grow, and it helps our business grow, because as we bring them in, we've already taught them. So a lot of our apprenticeships we seem to keep. Having key people in your business is very, very important, and that's what we do have. So I guess the next thing I can say is bringing in our son and daughter. Stephen wanted to work, always his dream was to work with his son. And so when we started up the business, that was our goal. He was at the time to take an apprenticeship. So we started that. Marianne then went off to business school, and I said, learn it somewhere else. You can't come back here and think you can run the office. So she did. She went and worked in a business in Guelph, went to school, come back, and she has been one strong asset to our business. So I think the two best things we ever did was go into business and bring our son and daughter in with us and be a family group, working with the schools, the YMCA, knowing the people in your community, and trusting your employees.
Well, I'm going to talk about two. One is what we did, and another the way we decided to think. What we did early, I came into a company that had just been established for a year or two, and there's two partners. I came in as a third partner at that time, and what we did at that moment was create a very, very good, strong, well-crafted shareholders agreement. And time passed, and circumstances, things changed, and one of the partners left the company, so there's two of us left. Having a very good and strong shareholders agreement made that departure very easy and organized. And I suggest if you're partners with someone now or thinking of having some sort of relationship with someone in some form or fashion, even if it's a supplier, get it in writing and get it looked after by a professional. So we're very fortunate. It made what could have been a very awkward situation quite straightforward. So that was a good decision we made early in the game. And the other, I guess, is more how we, myself and Josh, my main partner, we decided that we're going to run the business on the basis that nothing is sacred. So we were going to look at every business opportunity as something new and should be considered. Sounds like we're all over the map, but it actually just means you have to keep your eyes open for other opportunities. And because of that, we actually brought in a US-based technology for wastewater, which we thought we were going to rely on heavily, and sort of a mainstay of our product line. But through our sort of using that technology, we actually found some other opportunities that we hadn't thought of before, and we've actually been able to apply that technology to new opportunities. But more importantly for us is we actually created our own technology. We do what we call floating treatment wetlands. We do floating islands, and they clean up stormwater. So we're actually now Canada's leading innovator in floating treatment wetlands, and our sales have gone up like 500% because we are now gone into something that we own, we control, and it's been a good decision for us because we don't have to rely on this US-based technology. We have our own. We've created the market, we are the suppliers, we control all the parts. So we think keeping an open mind was the key to that.
So what is it then that makes you decide that this is where you want to be? And as part of our economic development strategy for the city is attraction of other people, qualified people as well as a general labor force, because we're short on all ends that way, to be able to create more business. What would you say to someone else in another community about why they should choose this area to run their business?
Coming from a different area and moving to Owen Sound, it has my heart because it has everything a city should have, does have, but it's in a small town, and like they say, that gall-darn grapevine, it can hurt or it can make you. Owen Sound is very close. It's a close community. Relationships grow, and I think for a small business and a business starting out, that's so very important.
The beauty of being in Owen Sound is that you really don't want for anything. Just about anything that we've needed for our business, we can get reasonably closely. There's no great reaches to find something. So you have no excuse not to have a successful business here. It does have most of the amenities that you need, and if you just look for them, or even if you have to drive a little bit to get them, you can work from here. So I think having the life balance as well as all the amenities, can't go wrong.
The biggest thing has been go with your gut. If your gut doesn't think the idea is good, it's probably not. If you're dealing with a customer and something doesn't seem right, it's probably not. Listen to your gut.
I'm going to step out of the box here a bit, and I'm going to say, give back to your community. Please give back to your community, because that is what supports your business, and so you should support them. There's lots of good groups out there.
The whole idea of having some fun in your business. There's no point in being there if you can't have fun or find the fun in it. With your employees, your day-to-day work with your employees, the relationships that you have with your customers, they should be fun to a certain extent. If you can't get some fun out of it, then maybe you've got the wrong relationship going. So it's just something to look at. And the thing I think, again, reiterating what my fellow colleagues have said, is you have to be, there's a lot to learn in business. Business is a never-ending cycle of learning, and is to be open to learn new things all the time.